On Acid Plant here for this PvZ matchup. Again, this is a qualifying match. It's kind of weird to start the day with a qualifying match, but that's how this is going to go. Obviously because these guys were meant to play last night, but then they ended up playing today instead. So, we'll get this ready to go. We'll be setting up into this in a moment or two. We're going to be jumping into Acid Plant in just a few moments. As you can see, someone isn't loading though, so it's going to be maybe a moment or two longer than we wanted to be, but there we go, we're off, we're away. Did someone drop, or did they just eventually manage to load? It's time to find out. Let me know what's up in the chat, everybody. Let me know what's going on. What's up, Jim Sock in the chat already? What's up, Hugo? How's everybody feeling? How's everyone doing today? Everyone enjoy last night's stream? Everyone have a good little time? I had a good time. I had a really good time, even though it was a little bit silly at points. I'm not gonna lie. As we get this set up and ready to go, we are, as you can, you guys can't see, yeah, oh you can see, I put it up. As you can see, there was quite the loading screen there. But, with that said, let's do this. To the bottom right, we kick it off to the, with the Red Protoss player, of course, here. Here is PtitDrogo. Currently teamless, just left my Insanity a day or so ago. And we have, to the top left-hand side, our Blue Zerg player, Stephano. So, it's a PvZ, it's game number 1 of the series, and we're having a look to see what sort of direction this might be headed in over the next few moments. First game of the day. Oh god, it feels good to be able to talk without just feeling like I'm gonna die every single word I say. Feels good, man. Again, what's up in the chat? Do you want to know who you guys are cheering on today? I want to know what you guys are up to. Did you guys enjoy last night's games? Are you guys excited for today's games? Is there anyone in particular you're excited to see, in particular? And stuff like that. Always fun to hear from you guys who you're cheering on and so on. So do let us know. Obviously it's Stephano and Drogo for now, and then we will have the open qualifier all over again. So we have the entire kind of bracket to go through, which is going to involve us jumping into some games, going to try and find some matches and some other bits and pieces. And we'll see what happens as we go into Hatchcast Pool opening here from Stephano. And Drogo is just about to throw down his Nexus. I mean, get Nexus core is obviously the way to go open nowadays in PvZ. You get yourself, the Cybernex core in time to get your tech rolling. You get yourself the Nexus up. You're safe against 12 pools. It's defendable. And we are going to be seeing this pro just going to be coming back up in towards the main base and to get back to mining. I mean, again, everything is looking as it should be for now in our very first matchup of the day. Anyone else feel as though the game sounds are louder than they should be? Is that just me? That might just be me. Just feel as though everything's really loud. Shh, guys, I'm trying to cast. You silly little pylon, stop making so much noise. We don't care if you're warping in. A couple of queens on the way out. Stephano will be moving towards a third hatchery sometime soon as well, you would imagine. Obviously not really much of a reason to not be moving towards a third hatchery, right? So, setting up towards this, and yeah, just going to be seeing a link speed coming up right now for Stephano. So, link speed coming up, the Stargate is dropping down in the main, and this overload of Stephano is going to come on through and just have a continued little scout on in. Depth from Drogo starts to shade across towards the upper left-hand side of the map here, so we'll be looking for that little bit of early information. Obviously, the more information you can get early in the game, the better of an idea you have as to what you should do or what your opponent might do and what you need to prepare for. There's a depth just here to make sure there's, there is the right number of drones coming up, there isn't a link flood. It's also here to maybe even get a drone kill or two, which can be really awesome, force some units out. It's just a nice way for the Protoss player to basically control the worker count in the early stages, putting them into a little bit of a, into the worker lead, as we are going to be seeing the depth again just shading forwards. We've not quite seen much. And, well, there's a Phoenix on the way out from the Stargate. Again, the Stargate is something we expect to see every single PvZ nowadays, and the Phoenix into an Oracle is becoming more popular as well. The Phoenix first just to get this Overlord kill ASAP, and then straight into the Oracle behind it. We'll see if there's 2 Oracles on the way, or whether it's going to be a faster switch up in towards a Twilight Council, maybe opening the door for Templar Archives and the, the Robo facility, and start dropping Archons around. We've been seeing, obviously, that has been the kind of the way to play things lately, as Stephano throws down the lair already in the main. So already with a lair on the way up, going to be setting up into this, as we have the hatchery coming up and finishing over on the third base. So hatch finishes over on the third. We'll see a Robo facilities on the way up from Drogo, as well as the Oracle does start to move out into the center of the map. There's the Twilight and the Robo then. Robo came down first of all, which means Warp Prism and then Temple Archives and Charge usually. Just one extra gateway to fill in the hole at the front. So it looks as though we're going to go straight in towards that very standard setup here. Now let's look at the number of gateways we're going to have, as we're going to be having 4 gates in total for the moment. Obviously, as you get up to 45 workers, you make that decision of, do you throw down a third Nexus? Do you go very committed onto the gateways for the charge for the Zealots and Archons? What exactly is the plan going to be? As the Oracle picks up a single kill, actually takes a lot of damage, and push back Spawn Queen combined, and some good damage done. Even the Phoenix takes a few shots. Ooh, an Immortal Chrono Booster. Now that's not something I was expecting, so maybe we actually see a Glaives? And that's something that's very different to what I was expecting. So this is a different build from Drogo. This is a very committed and aggressive build where you're looking to push with a couple of Immortals, a few Sentries, and a lot of Adepts as your supporting units. And it's one of those builds that's looking to win the game early, and it's very powerful against something like fast Hydralisks, because the Hydralisks just melt to the Adepts, and you also have the Immortals in the background to back this up. So this is going to be a very committed attack here from Drogo. The third Nexus comes down, but he's not going to look to use it in the immediate future. There's going to be some Sentries warping in. It's all going to be about this upcoming attack. Expect 4 extra gateways probably in the near future to really start, ramping up the potential for this attack. As we see, as a double Immortal comes out, it should then be the Warp Prism, and Stephano isn't doing anything to scout this just yet. We see these 3 gates coming down, 1 more will make the 8 in total, and we are just going to be seeing the last gateway. There we go, all 8 gates coming down here, and again, obviously Drogo is getting ready to go across the map. The Warp Prism's on its way, the Glaives is about to finish, a couple more pylons to get away from any sort of supply block that might haunt him here in the near future, and we are going to be seeing the well, a lot of Lings coming across the map here initially. It's interesting because Stephano has actually cut workers, and he's actually massively Hydra, so Stephano himself has been very aggressive, which is somewhat amusing considering that Drogo also wants to be aggressive. So who does this work out in favor of? It's kind of strange, right? Because, if they both want to attack into each other, well, yeah, I mean, maybe it's, I'm looking at this, I'm trying to figure it out. I kind of like it for Drogo, honestly, because Drogo has the third Nexus to fall back into. And the Zerg starts up the 4th hatch now, but for the Protoss player, they don't have to make the choice now of making drones or making units, right? They can just make probes as they make some more units. Whereas the Zerg has to say, okay, well, if I want to make drones, I have to cut unit production. That could really hurt in terms of continuing to fight here. Glaives is now done, but a good continued wall off. But there's the Lings getting in. And that's going to be a bit of a frustration, but Adepts already warping from Drogo to defend against this. These Lings will start to get a little bit of damage done. 6 workers going down. Let's push from Drogo off over to the right-hand side. A lot of Lings going down. A couple of Hydras here and there as well. We're going to be seeing this Immortal continue to help out as we do see these Lings are just going to continue going down. And that's going to be the end of it. Well, that run by got 9 probers, which is awesome, by the way. I mean, 9 workers is a heck of a lot. And it slows Drogo down a little bit, but I still feel Drogo's army that's pushing across the map is so powerful here. There's Baneland speed starting up. I mean, +1 melee is about to finish. But these Banes won't have Bane speed for this fight, and there's still so many force fields available. Drogo just has so much to get going, and it's almost like a bit of a build or to win, honestly. He had everything he needed for this first attack. He was so well prepared for it, and now, I mean, just needs to keep the Hydras away from the Warp Prism, and he should be really kind of just set to win this game. Just needs a successful push right now. Warps in another couple of Sentries, and obviously has some more force field potential as another Baneling or so will go down. And there's a couple more force fields drop, those Hydras will get taken down too. Some Lings from the south side. There's another couple of force fields coming on into play, and it looks as though this is going to be the end of this hatchery up here. And that's going to be back falling. So as the hatchery drops, I mean, we're now in this position where Drogo just keeps on pushing through. He's a little bit supply blocked, but, I mean, at the end of the day, his army is maybe just good enough anyways. A couple more force fields, and that's what's so scary about this push, right? Especially against no Ravagers. The force fields are just going to be endless ways to just shut down any of these Banelings from actually doing anything at all. And on Acid Plant especially, there's always a position where you can just use a couple of force fields, and you're more or less completely secured from that sort of scenario of Banes sneaking through anyways. And now, Banes and Hydras actually get locked out completely. And if Drogo wants to, he can probably just go straight into the natural and force field behind himself to make this just a single attack pathway. And he's just going to force field there. Bane speed kicks in towards the latter end of this, but again, there's the entire set of force fields, and what more do you really need? A few Banes will finish up here, and they will get a few of the Sentries, but there's still so many more. A few of these Banes going to start rolling from the backside now. Can Stephano find what he needs? Some extra force fields from Drogo. At the very least, he's going to kill the natural expansion, and then he could recall out if he really feels he needs to. Does he need to? I still don't think he does. He's still got the Immortals in this army as well. Even if his Sentries are now going down, the Immortals are just going to be such a strong backbone. The Warp Prisms are alive for further reinforcements. That's GG for PtitDrogo to take the first game of this best of 3. Alright, so not really much of a surprise there. That said, let's get into game number 2 and see how this will go. To the top left hand side, our red Protoss player is PtitDrogo. And he's going up against the pink Zerg to the bottom right side of the map. It is Stephano. So game number 2, and obviously Neon Violet Square, is immediately a much different map from Acid Plan. Pushing across the map aggressively is nowhere near as easily done, because Acid Plan is just a much shorter map, it's much more choky. Neon Violet Square is the sort of map where you can't attack into your opponent's bases anywhere near as easily as on Acid Plan. So this is the sort of map that will go longer. This is the sort of map where we're looking to see lurkers, maybe even carriers in the later stages, and all the rest of it. You know, getting up to 4 or 5 bases is definitely a possibility, a reality for both players here. That's definitely something we could see happen. We'd be surprised if we saw Stephano also trying to be aggressive like he was in that last game as well. So we'll see how this goes. But definitely expecting a very different setup to what we saw in that game number 1. Now Stephano's down a game, and obviously this is a qualifying match. So if you win this, you don't have to play in qualifier number 2, which starts up in about 40 minutes time. And that would be an absolute dream. Already secured your your place in WCS Challenger. You don't have to delay at all. It would just be so, it's just amazing. It would be an amazing feeling just to have your Challenger place secured without any further questions being asked. Drogo was actually one of the players who was very close to qualifying for Challenger during the ladder event, the ladder qualifier. He was 5th place, I believe, or maybe 6th towards the end, but he was definitely contesting for the top 4 positions, which were in the end taken up by Showtime, Showtime, Sol, Hero Marine, and Harston. So Drogo was very close to qualifying already for Challenger. This is the 2nd time being very close to qualifying. I mean, he's now 1 map away. Just has to win here on Neon Violet Square, and if he fails here, at least he can win the next map too to also send himself through. But then the pressure will be a little bit higher. He'll have to control himself under the pressure in that scenario. Overlord comes up in towards the upper left-hand side. The Stargate drops down from PtitDrogo in the main base. Link speed starts up. And we just get this ready to go. A couple of queens on the way out. A third hatchery coming down from Stephano as well. And we do just have this one single adept already coming down towards the bottom right-hand side of the map to have a little bit of a look to see what's going on. Obviously a second adept should be joining it soon, very similar to the last game where these adepts are just looking for information. I mean, one of the first things they can confirm is the fact there's a third hatchery already here, so that's the information for Drogo, which he'll be happy to see. It means that generally here Stephano's opening up in a fairly normal way. He's not doing anything too weird. And that's, for Drogo, who may want to play a bit more of a normal game himself now, that's a good positive sign for himself, as we are going to see this adept doesn't get any kills. Good spore crawler placement by Stephano to keep those drones alive when they go down to half health. And now they are going to be getting themselves off away towards the upper left-hand side. So he's going to be able to keep this nice and safe. So the Adept stays alive. There's the Oracle coming out. No Phoenix first this time. Because there's an Overlord, I guess, already in his main. I guess the Oracle first can be a little bit better. You get it a bit sooner. You get it onto the map. And across the map faster, obviously, is very influential. So this Oracle coming up. Beyond the Oracle, I mean, I guess he's still going to a Phoenix, right? You go Oracle, Phoenix, Oracle, so you can get rid of this Overlord too. I mean, you definitely want a Phoenix, if not a Void Ray. We saw Mana with a Void Ray once or twice yesterday. Don't think that's Drogo's style. I'm pretty sure this will be a Phoenix. Oh, he did go Phoenix first. Wow. Well, you know what? I'm just... where did that come from? I don't even know. Apologies, guys. Looking at the wrong place at the wrong time. I was so convinced that was the first unit at the Stargate, but... my timing was a little bit off, and there is a Phoenix, so it comes back and cleans up the Overlord. Yeah, interesting. Not really like it's been across the map to see much or anything, so it's intriguing. Anyways, Oracle comes in and goes for the first drone kill, and just gets the one before having to back away again, just as Queen and a Spore in position, and Drogo unable to really gain a lot here, but still has it on the map to get a little bit more done in the next few minutes. 4 more gates on the way up though, by the way, and a Robo facility down with no Twilight Council this time. So this is actually just looking like a straight up 6 gate, 7, 8, I mean 8 gate, right? It has to be 8 gates. There's no way he needs, he can just go on only 6 gates if he's going to be on 2 base income. So he's just going to go 8 gates, no upgrades, pure Sentry Zealot, Sentry Adept, I suppose. He actually does have some money along the way, or some gas to still spend. 6 extra gates about to finish, and Drogo just playing super aggressively in these couple of PvZs right now. As we see one Ling patrol to the right-hand side, we'll see the Prism potentially, but will it be in time? Question we have to ask ourselves here. It kind of feels like Stephano has a rough idea of what's going on, though. The lack of a third Nexus might be, or even the lack of trying to take a third Nexus might be a bit of a telltale sign. He's got Spinecrawler on the way up, his first few Hydras and Lings coming through, starting up the Hydra with speed as well. So he's getting defensive units out, as he's only on 48 workers, so cutting drones at a good time of the game. If he wants to defend this is something which he needs to do, have not too many drones. If he has too many drones, then defending obviously becomes very difficult, but already making units definitely bodes well right now for Stephano here in this upcoming defense, as Drogo has so much money. I mean, he warps in around his Zelts, but look how much money he still has. He has, sorry, that's not Zelts, a few Adepts and a Stalker or two. Well, here we go, Drogo's going to push on forwards, and let's see if there's enough from Stephano. It definitely feels as though there should be, especially with this Spinecrawler here. First couple of force fields are very good, though. Pulls backwards to make sure the Hydras can't be part of the fight. Ooh, loses a higher energy sentry. That is a little bit painful. Warp Prism pushes forwards. Another warp in here, 4 Adepts, a couple more sentries. Using up that gas bank, still has a lot of minerals in the bank, and now needs a pylon or two because he's going to be supply blocked. That only needs to trade out a couple of units at the very least here. As you do see, well, no transfusions really available. This Queen has just about energy for a transfusion in a second. Doesn't save the Spinecrawler though. We'll have to use that now on a Hydralisk instead, which is a little bit more difficult to do because the Hydras are just a little bit more flimsy. They'll die a bit faster. The Phoenix will lift up one Hydra to try and help out. It gets targeted down. Another Sentry coming in. Nice pickups with the War Prism to help out here as the extra Adepts come forwards. With the extra Adepts, Drogo, maybe he has the momentum here. Just keep on pushing through this. I mean, he comes in and now he actually does need a, unless he loses some couple of units now, he does need himself a pylon because he's getting supply blocks. He's running out of energy on the sentries though, so those units are not going to do a lot of damage, but they will just kind of be, you know, they'll do a little bit, but they'll be more dead weight than they should be because they're meant to be here for something a little bit different. Hydras here continue to push on through and the sentries going down, and again, without force fields, those Hydras just allowed to do whatever they want. It's good damage done here by Drogo, right? 16 drones killed. But as he's killed 16 drones, we're just going to be seeing the consistent kind of back and forth and pushing forwards. Can Stephano continue to hold on against the constant warp-ins? I don't think he can. This looks so scary for a moment or two for Drogo, but he's just about going to have enough to push through. Having already killed the workers, that goes a long way to helping out. And those Adepts are just looking to shade on top of a few of those Hydras or so, and just obviously hunt down more free kills, because at this point those Hydras are nowhere near being in a useful position to fight. Third hatchery is going to get taken down here. Another Prism warping. I mean, he may die for the Prism now, which is nice and all, but he loses a few units in the process, and it's just going to be GG. PtitDrogo 2-0, and he will qualify.